Hey, it's another episode, Just My Take. This is Dexter K, aka Dex PC5, with another new episode covering all your entertainment and sports needs. I want to start the show by saying thank you to my supporters, the people who have been subscribing, sharing the episode. Please continue to do that. Do me a favor, go on Apple iTunes, leave a rating. Leave some comments. I definitely want to hear people's feedback on the show. Right now, during the summer, I'm kind of going a little bit more solo with the show. We're going to get guests soon. We're definitely going to get guests soon. But right now, I'm currently in school. I have like 2 summer classes, and I work a full-time job. So it's a little hard to try to get guests on for scheduling because some days I just want to get the episode going by myself. But once school's over, especially the summer class, I'm hoping to get some guests in the fall so you can hear from other people, get some other viewpoints on the episodes. Anyway, August is a great time. I mean, you get that feeling of it's still the midst of summer, going to the beach and whatnot, but for a sports fan, you just get that feeling that sports is really back. I know baseball fans, It's in the heat of baseball. The end of baseball is coming up soon, which is also great because we're gonna get playoff baseball coming sometime in September too. For other fans, soccer fans, the English Premier League is starting up this weekend. I'm excited about that. La Liga, Serie A, the Bundesliga, the French league, Ligue 1. That's also starting up later on this month. So we're hearing a lot of craziness with the soccer transfer talk. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later. NFL preseason just started the other day. We're going to have the NFL season coming up pretty soon. Looking forward to that. NBA, they just dropped the slate of the Christmas Day games and the MLK Day games. Those are must-see games for the NBA season, especially Christmas Day. You get those 5 blockbuster matchups with the Lakers and Warriors. Looking forward to that one. And then you got college football as well. College football, can Bama do it again? I actually will hope not because I'm sick and tired of Alabama always winning these games. A lot of controversy right now with Ohio State with Urban Meyer. I don't know what's going to happen with him. I don't know what's going to happen with him just because it's a serious allegation with domestic violence. And I think in this current day and age, I think people get canned for it. Now, for those who don't know about Urban Meyer, well, he started he was in trouble because he had an assistant coach that beat his wife. And he knew about it. He didn't fire the guy. He kept on the squad. And that creates a lot of controversy because you have a coach who's a wife beater leading a group of young, impressionable college men. And so it's not a good look. It's not a good look. It'll be interesting to see what Ohio State does with their investigation. If Urban Meyer continues to keep his job. I know Urban Meyer, he's kind of gotten into some rocky stuff in the past. A lot of issues happened in his time in Florida. I mean, Aaron Hernandez was one of his former players. So a lot of issues have happened in Florida. Ohio State, not as much, but, Urban doesn't have the cleanest track record when it comes to his programs. So it'll be interesting to see if Ohio State is willing to can an elite coach. I think that's where they're at. It's like, do we can an elite coach like Urban Meyer to do the right thing, or do we stick with Urban Meyer and just, deal with the controversy as it is? I mean, so far with college football, you look at Art Briles with Baylor, he got fired because he, with the program, with the whole sexual assault that happened in Baylor a couple of years ago with the football players, Art Briles got fired for that, for not doing enough. So it'll be interesting to see if Urban Meyer gets that same heat, gets that same smoke from Ohio State. Anyway, there's a lot on the docket. A lot has been happening with sports. And I'm going to get into that. This is going to be a very sports-heavy show, so all my entertainment fans, bear with me. You'll still get some good entertainment from it, some entertainment news. I like to cover sports. I like to cover the off-the-field stuff because with the on-the-field, you see the numbers, you see the statistics. But I feel the off the field is where, things get very interesting. Because at the end of the day, these athletes, they're people. They're people at the end of the day. They're still doing all types of crazy stuff. And that's the beautiful thing about it. So I like to cover that. I like to cover the drama, all that stuff. So there's a lot on the docket. The first thing I got to talk about is LeBron versus President Trump. Man, this is I'm not surprised this happened because LeBron James did talk about President Trump in his interview with Don Lemon from CNN. But LeBron James, whether you love him or hate him, I don't know how you can hate him. The guy opened up a school. He did what I think he's setting the example for what today's athlete is supposed to do if you want to use your money, use your influence to help give back. And I think that's what LeBron is doing. He's showing everybody that, hey, you know what? Even though this world has blessed you with a lot of money, you still have to give back to those who are in need. So he opened up a school in Akron, Ohio. It's called the I Promise School. And he's giving out a lot of free services, free bus rides within 2 miles, free bikes, free education. He's even helping the parents of those kids get a job because for a lot of those kids that come from broken homes, if your parents are working, that stabilizes the home. There's money coming in. The parents are able to afford things, able to provide their kids a better life, be better role models. So all of that affects the household. And LeBron, he's had a troubled childhood, and he wants to go back to his community and fix that. And I applaud him for doing that stuff. The issue with this the President Trump thing is I don't know why President Trump felt like he had the need to clap back at LeBron James, because LeBron is not the first person to say something about the president. I mean, this is a president that unfortunately does a lot of crazy things, and he draws a lot of negative attention amongst himself. And so there's a lot of people who criticize him. And the thing is that LeBron says that the president was using sports to divide the country. And he felt as an athlete in the sports community, he can't stand for that. So for Trump to go out and say that LeBron's a dumb man and Don Lemon's a dumb man, I feel it's petty. And I think there seems to be a pattern with Donald Trump, specifically with black athletes. For some reason, whereas Kaepernick, LeBron, Steph Curry, whenever a person of color speaks out against Trump is very quick to come and bash him, say some shit about them. But when you don't really hear anything when white athletes say anything, and I'm just keeping it real. I mean, how many times has Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich said something about Donald Trump? Even worse than what LeBron James has said. And yet Donald Trump, you don't really hear it. You don't hear any Twitter stuff from him. You don't hear anything. But LeBron James says just a little thing, and Donald Trump has to go and attack his character and all that stuff. I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame that that the president resorts to that type of tactic. That's just my take on it. People can agree or disagree. A lot of people know I am not a Trump supporter by any means, but I do know people who are Trump supporters. I just think the way he's acting, it's a little crazy. But I want to say big ups to LeBron James for opening that school, setting the right example for people, especially people of color that have money, that have the education, to always give back to the community, because sometimes there's just not enough support. And I feel LeBron, I hope he starts that wave. I know LeBron is kind of the role model for the NBA. A lot of NBA players follow what LeBron does. So I hope that, there's a whole wave of even athletes trying to one-up each other, opening schools all over the place. I talked about in my a podcast a few weeks ago about the national anthem protest and how I feel athletes could start up a police fund to help people apply to the police academy from within their community. So people from the community police their own community, and how athletes can maybe pay the fees for those people who are interested in it but can't afford it. So if this is maybe the wave of fixing things from within, then hey, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I think LeBron is doing a good job in that aspect. Another topic I want to talk about, I want to touch on is Dak Prescott and the national anthem. So Dak Prescott from the Dallas Cowboys, he recently came out and he said that people should not protest the national anthem. It's not the right place to do it. For those who haven't been keeping up, the Dallas Cowboys have been adamant that they're going to stand for the national anthem. Jerry Jones in particular, obviously he's the owner, he's the boss. So it wasn't surprising that Dak Prescott actually said the same thing. It wasn't surprising. I mean, if your boss is making you do something, most times most Americans are going to do it because they need the paycheck. And there was a mural with Dak Prescott in which they showed Dak Prescott in a crying face, showing that he was in the sunken place. If the sunken place is a term, a scene from the movie Get Out, a very great movie. I recommend you go see if you haven't seen it. In which which the black character goes into kind of like this galaxy. He's in the sunken place where his mind knows that something's wrong, but his body can't move. It's almost like he's like a zombie in a way. And I understand. I understand where people put Dak Prescott in that, saying he's in the sunken place. I think it's a little fucked up, in my opinion. I think it's a little fucked up because, one, we as people have to ask the question: do we expect all our athletes to be social activists now? Is that the new norm? I mean, can we expect every single athlete to have a say in society, have a say in politics and all? Because I don't want all my athletes doing this. Because some athletes are just not smart people. Some athletes, they have their own agendas, and, if they speak out, they may not be the right people for it. LeBron James, I think, is a perfect role model for speaking out. I think he's very articulate. I think he's very measured and very calculated in the way he projects himself, how he does things. He takes his time. He thinks about things. I think other athletes do not. They just say random shit. And then it's also in the media, and it shows a conflicting message. If anyone wants to see the example of that, look at the anthem protest when you had Kaepernick started, and then by the time all the other players took over, it became a mess. Some people are social activists. LeBron James is. Michael Jordan is not. Even Michael Jordan, when he made his statement backing up LeBron, he said, I like that what LJ is doing for the community. He doesn't even say LeBron James' full name in the statement. He does it through a spokesperson. We people have known for a long time Jordan does not like to get involved with issues in the black community. And hey, you know what? It's his prerogative. To me, it's his prerogative. He can do what he wants to do. He doesn't have to be involved because not all athletes want to be social activists. Some athletes, they just want to play ball and go home. And I think with Dak Prescott, he's in a tough position, especially in the black community. And I'm speaking of this guy, obviously, as a black man. I kind of understand where Dak is coming from, and I'm hearing this stuff within the black community, and it's the big debate about either morals versus job. All right, for a lot of people of color, especially educated people that work in high positions of corporate America, sometimes it's like a rock and a hard place. Do you go with your morals and do you say the right thing, even though it may go against every single other manager in the company, against the owner of your company, and then you're put in a light that may not be good for you for your future career going forward? Or do you shut up and take the paychecks and just keep it moving? And while shit may be happening, you still getting your paychecks, but maybe you can't look at yourself in the mirror for the bad stuff that happens. Because what Dak Prescott is going through, a lot of people go through this stuff. A lot of people, they work in companies where They were asked to do something that morally deep down inside they couldn't do, and they had to make that gut decision of, well, do I continue to keep my job or do I make a stand? And then, hey, you know what? You may get fired for that stand. So with Dak Prescott, I think people gotta, especially a lot of the people who are militant, I think they gotta kind of take a step back and look at it from Dak's shoes. And hey, Dak may not agree with the anthem protest. That's the thing. There's this whole protest thing. There's multiple of different viewpoints. Dak may understand what Kaepernick is coming from, but he may say, hey, I don't agree with protesting the anthem. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone has to side with, everyone has to protest with the anthem. It doesn't have to be like that. Not every black person agrees with that. Not every person of color, or even if you're not a person of color, if you agree with the Kaepernick stance, not every person who agrees you have to do it during the national anthem. But so I kind of feel bad for Dak Prescott. I think people should understand he's in a tough position, because if he goes against Jerry Jones, Jerry has every right to be like, all right, well, you don't agree with me, I'm gonna find me a quarterback that can. And look how quickly Kaepernick was ousted out the league. He still doesn't have a job back for taking that stand. Eric Reed, he's a safety for the San Francisco 49ers who the past 2 seasons has been kneeling just as much as Kaepernick, voicing his opinion. 26 years old, still has not been brought back in the league. So the NFL has made a point, if you're going to go ahead with these protests, you will be blackballed from the league. And there's a lawsuit for it right now. So this shit is happening. So Dak Prescott said, hey, you know what? I disagree with Jerry Jones. I'm going to protest. To hell with him. And Jerry's like, all right, bye-bye. I see you. And then Dak no longer has an NFL career. Is that really fair to him? Because he was put into this position of social activism where he may not even wanted it in the first place. I think it's a tough thing. I think that's something that people got to think about and wonder, do we expect our athletes to be social activists? I don't know. I really don't know. What else is on the docket right now? We got some interesting news. NCAA is allowing high school elite basketball players to get agents. So if you're an elite high school basketball player, say, for example, who are we looking at? Say there's a guy named Zion Williamson, even LeBron James Jr. Let's give that example. LeBron James Jr. In high school, he can be able to have an agent, and he could be able to declare for the draft if he went to college, and if he didn't go to college, he can still go back to the program. And if you're an elite player, you can have an agent kind of decide your dealings and evaluations and all that stuff. To me, this is a bullshit ruling by the NCAA. This is a half-ass ruling by the NCAA. This is the NCAA pretty much saying we're putting one foot into the water and that's it. At this point, you have to address whether the players are getting paid or not. And this is why I think the NCAA is doing this ruling. One, from the reports that I heard, they made this ruling. They did not talk to the NBA. They did not talk to the NBA Players Union. So this ruling came out of nowhere. And they said that USA Basketball can be able to evaluate these players and give the agents and do the evaluations and if they can go to NBA or not. And USA Basketball is like, we don't have the infrastructure to do this stuff. So the NCAA consulted no one but made this ruling. Let's call it what it is. The NCAA is making money off the players, and they don't want to pay them. And for anybody who says, "Oh, well, the players are getting a free education, yada yada yada," it doesn't matter. That you cannot justify how a star player can get maybe $80,000 in college tuition, but yet the school makes $3 billion off of his name. Maybe let's do $1 billion off of his name. That's not really a fair. It's not a fair thing. I think what the NCAA needs to do is they need to allow players. If you are an elite player, you make money off of your likeness. You can make your own sponsorship deals. You can sell your own shoes. That money just goes to the player. is the even ground, because that way the NCAA still gets exposure from the elite players, especially for March Madness and all that stuff. But the players get the money that they deserve, because a lot of these players, they're going to the league. We're talking elite players, not the average, not the ones that are just, that are not going to make it. Obviously, that the free tuition that helps people like them. The ones who are not elite, that helps. But for the ones like the Ben Simmons and stuff, they didn't really need the school. And this is the reason why I think the NCAA is starting to do something about it, because the NCAA is the slowest organization when it comes to making new rulings, new progressive rulings. They drag their feet on everything. It took the NCAA forever to decide to make a college football playoff with 4 teams. They went with the BCS nonsense for 10 to 12 fucking years, because they didn't want to allow 2 extra games to decide a fucking championship in a playoff. And the only reason why they did it is because they knew they would make more money. The NCAA is coming to a point where players are starting to realize that the system is bullshit and that they will go elsewhere, especially in basketball. Football, they still have the game on lock because there's not really any rumors of a non-NCAA league forming. Unfortunately, all these other leagues, they want to rival the NFL. They want to rival, like the XFL. And then there's one USFL with Bill Polian from the former GM of the Colts. He's trying to lead that. I don't know why they're doing that. I think that they should tap into that market of, hey, there's a lot of elite high school football players that want to go to college. I mean, that don't want to go to college. They want to play. They want to get into NFL. I think they should look into that. But we know for sure with the NBA, with basketball, this is happening. The NBA is trying to find ways to expand the G League to accept these elite high school players. You have alternative leagues forming up. I think you have the NBL. You have a basketball league in Australia that has elite high school players going there. You have a LeVar Ball's league. I don't know how serious that is, but he's making something happen. He's at least bringing the smoke. He's bringing the pressure. So for these elite basketball players, they're not going to want to deal with NCAA. If anybody wants to know a prime example, watch the Showtime documentary of Ben Simmons. He was a player for LSU. Went maybe 1 year. He only did really half a semester. He hated it. He was like, I do not understand why I am in school, why I'm being forced to do 1 year of school. This is nonsense. This is bullshit. And he's a star for the Philadelphia Sixers. He didn't need that year of college. And the school wasn't paying him anything. Players are now starting to – it's all about player power. You're seeing it from the NBA. It's a trickle effect. Now it's going down to the college players. You're seeing these high school players, they're getting major exposure now. Major exposure where now they're Zion Wilson, LeBron James Jr., LaMelo Ball. You're seeing these players, these high school players, AAU players, again, this exposure. And at some point, they're going to be like, screw the NCAA. I'll go to another small developmental league. I'll play for 1 year and get drafted. And for people who say, oh, it's free exposure, to a degree it is. It is to a degree. Don't get me wrong. Everyone loves March Madness. Everyone goes and watches at Hooters or Buffalo Wild Wings or at your local bar. You watch that stuff. You enjoy it. But the thing is that this will still happen. You just won't have the elite basketball players. And for some people, that's fine. But for the ones who are, NBA fans, who are pure basketball fans, who love to see these elite players, they're going to watch the players wherever they go. So if they go to the G League, they're going to watch the G League. Because now, in this day and age, you have streaming services. You can watch these guys anywhere. I mean, we already see YouTube clips of Zion Wilson and LeBron James Jr., okay? And we also see, Facebook, Amazon, YouTube, they can show live games of the G League or these alternative leagues with the elite basketball players. people will watch it. ESPN, Fox Sports 1 will hype it up. I mean, even look at the big three. The big three gets a lot of play, gets a lot of people watching. And these are post-40 NBA players, and people are watching it. So you mean to tell me that they can't have some type of league for elite high school players before they go to the draft? It doesn't affect the draft stock. Look at Luka Doncic from Europe. How many American fans really watch European basketball games? I know I don't. And I know a lot of people don't watch European basketball games, but this guy was still drafted in the top 5. He was still a lottery pick. So it's going to happen. These guys are going to get exposure. I think the NCAA, they need to stop, sitting on their asses, and they need to find a way to pay these players, because it's going to be a trickle effect. The basketball players are going to find a way not to go to NCAA. And at some point, somebody in football is going to be like, this alternative league is making a lot of money. Why don't I start a football league for elite high school players? And that's going to make money. And then it's going to be a trickle-down effect. Unfortunately, I think the NCAA has had a free ride for a long time, and now it's stopped. And I think for people who complain about the player power, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. In fact, you're seeing more exposure of the youth leagues, of high school players, even down to like Pee-wees. I mean, Little League Baseball, every year ESPN shows Little League Baseball, and these kids are, 10, ages 8 to 12, elementary, middle school kids. I just saw a commercial the other day. They're going to start showing junior NBA tournaments. And then the soccer, there's going to be a huge future soccer tourney of young stars. So almost it's called the ICC. What you're going to have all the top clubs in Europe are going to go join this tournament in the U.S. with all the best MLS team youth stars, and then regional youth stars. So it's kind of like the Little League, but for soccer. And it's going to be a huge tournament they're going to be treated with real training. They're going to get pressed like the actual stars. It's going to be a big deal. That's going to be coming up soon. So as sports starts to trickle down to even the lower levels, stuff like the NCAA is not going to be as popular anymore. So they got to figure it out. Anyway, what else is on the docket? Aaron Rodgers, my guy Aaron Rodgers, he's coming up on a unique situation with the Green Bay Packers. It's a contract year for him. They haven't decided a contract for him, and it's interesting because as a Packers fan, I know if it was a standard max contract, Aaron Rodgers will take up the max and probably will not give Green Bay a lot of salary cap space. But the guy has earned it. The guy besides Tom Brady, this guy has been one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the league. He's been one of the faces of the league with Tom Brady. So the guy deserves the money. And I think Aaron Rodgers is actually trying to look for a unique contract. He's a minority owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. And he actually talked about today about the NFL going forward. I think what you're seeing is the NFL players are looking at these NBA players, getting the bag, getting these guaranteed contracts, and they're like, I want some of that money too. Aaron Rodgers suggests no franchise tags. Not good. Max guaranteed contracts. He thinks that there should be a soft cap like the NBA. If you go over, you pay the luxury tax. Just like Golden State. Hey, if you got the team and you got the stars, you keep them. If you're willing to pay the luxury tax. Aaron Rodgers says, hey, the NFL, even though some of the ratings was down a little bit, they still have a lot of money. And the NFL makes a lot of goddamn money. And, I agree with this. I think the NFL needs to move away from this hard cap. I know that there's more players in the NFL than in the NBA, but I think it would benefit teams to be able to do more guaranteed contracts, be able to kind of have flexibility in their cap, and maybe be able to keep maybe more of their star players. And I don't think you would see super teams in the NFL. I mean, there have been super teams before. I mean, the 90s Cowboys were dominant. And then the greatest show on turf in 2000, St. Louis Rams was a really great offensive team. But you still have to play the games, and there's still teams that can still, even though you may have an all-star team on paper, you can still lose a game in the NFL because it's one game. I think this should be the NFL's wave going forward. I think they got to look forward to doing a soft cap. I think this will help in easing relations with the players because I think now the players are starting to get pissed off with the owners. The anthem protests are not helping at all. They're seeing their NBA counterparts getting guaranteed money. So you're starting to see a little bit more guaranteed contracts with NFL players, but I think they want to try to, if they can make the cap like the NBA's, it may help ease relations a little bit because if not, I think there's going to be a strike. I keep mentioning it on all my other episodes that I suggest that you listen to. I think the NFL players are going towards a strike. If they don't fix relations, if the owners don't fix relations with the players, and no one wants to see replacement players. No one's about that life. And the last thing on the docket, I know we talked about a lot, is the soccer. The EPL is starting this weekend. I can't wait. I think I'm going to watch more soccer than I usually do. I'm a huge FIFA fan. I love the transfer. I think transfers is the most interesting thing I've ever seen in my life. It's very different from American players. The fact that, you can have LeBron James switch from team to team to team to team in a span of 5 years. He can go on 5 different teams is like phenomenal. I don't know if American fans that are like diehard football guys or basketball guys can handle it because the fact that people complain when LeBron goes from Cleveland to LA or Miami, or that Durant went from OKC to Golden State, and they're burning jerseys and all that stuff. I don't know if they can really handle a soccer transfer market because it's just insane. So the EPL starting soccer season is in full effect. We just had a great World Cup, and it'll be interesting to see how the club season happens. So for those who don't know, the English Premier League is the club soccer season of the English League. It is probably the most popular around the world because obviously English people understand it. I think it's also the most balanced of the 5 leagues. There's a top 5 of leagues. There's Italy, Germany, England, Spain, and France. I think England tends to have the most balance. I think they just recently had a big TV deal, so a lot of the English teams are getting more competitive, buying more players from the other 4 leagues. So it's starting to be more interesting how things are starting to pan out. I wish the MLS was kind of like this. I don't understand why the MLS has a salary cap. Anybody who's an MLS fan, please talk to me about this. I don't know why the MLS does not have a salary cap. I think it's the only league that really has a salary cap, and I think it's stupid. I think you should let teams pay whatever they want to pay because I think if they're getting stars, but the problem with MLS is that you get stars that are kind of coming close to their retirement. Like Wayne Rooney, Ibrahimovic, they had Thierry Henry. So yeah, we get Pirlo. We get to see these guys, but we're not seeing them in their prime. And we're getting some players in their prime, like Jovinko, Sebastian Jovinko, the Dos Santos brothers from Mexico. But I also think that we could see a lot more of European prime players if they reduce the salary cap. And the example I would say is the Chinese Premier League. In China, you're getting all these South American guys in their prime. They're going over for the money. It's making the league interesting to a degree. I think the American League can benefit from that. Get some of Europe's stars in there. It'll make it more. I think it'll make it more fun to watch. I do understand why they're anti-promotion relegation, because if you're an owner who's paying a shit ton of money for an MLS team, you don't really want to be known as a second division team. In America, we don't really mess with the whole second division, third division thing. I understand that's very hard as a culture to do, but I think they should at least remove the salary cap and let teams just do what they do, just like they do in South America and Europe. Anyway, so the English Premier League, the most balanced league of the top 5 leagues. You don't get the same winners every year. That's what I kind of like about it. I mean, you do have the top dogs that do win. Manchester City won last year, Chelsea the year before. Man U had a run for a little bit. But a few years back, we had Leicester City, who before were a team that looked like they were going to get relegated or go to the second division, and they went on a historic, amazing run and won the fucking league. It's beautiful. You don't see that in other leagues. Like in Italy, Juventus usually wins. And in Germany, Bayern Munich runs the table. In Spain, it's between Barcelona and Real Madrid. Once in a while, Atletico Madrid will win. And in France, France has actually been a little bit different. But now that the Paris Saint-Germain, they have Neymar, they have the oil money, it's a wrap. I don't see these guys losing it for a long time. So the English Premier League, there's been a lot of crazy transfers. The transfer day starts tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I think it's going to be interesting to see the storylines that happen. I think with Manchester City, I think they got a great thing going. I think Manchester City, the way they are doing things, they may make a run like Man U made before. I honestly believe it. They got a great coach in Pep Guardiola, who has won in Barcelona and Bayern Munich. So this guy knows how to win trophies. They got a lot of oil money. The owners are, Arab. They got a lot of oil money coming in. They're able to buy players. Pep is embracing the youth. He's bringing good players in. They can go on a long run. I know I just said that it's the most balanced league, but hey, City might actually run away with this league for a while. Who knows? Then you got my team, Chelsea, the Blues. I was debating with a friend today about the goalkeeper that we got. $80 million for a goalkeeper, I think is a little ridiculous, in my opinion. But hey, the way the fees have been going up and up and up, that may be the average in a couple years. Chelsea, they're a great team. They're always expected to win. I enjoy them. I love the way they play. The only thing I hate is that they switch coaches all the time. I wish that they would kind of cool off on switching coaches. They're not fucking Real Madrid. You can't keep switching coaches all the time and expect people to want to coach Chelsea. I think they got to chill out a little bit. Liverpool, I think a lot of people are rooting for Liverpool. They're the underdogs, but I think they have a chance to win the league. Actually, Mo Salah from last year, he had an amazing season, and he can do that again. Jurgen Klopp is a great manager. They got a good youth movement, a good project going down there. You got the Tottenham Spurs. They didn't make any moves in the transfer market, but they got the same team as the last year. And Spurs have been making the top 4, so they've been doing some Champions League ball. It'll be interesting to see. And then I think, the other powerhouse teams, Arsenal, Manchester United, Arsenal, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know what's going to happen at Arsenal. They're the longtime coach, Arsene Wenger. He was the longest tenured coach in the EPL. So once Sir Alex Ferguson left, Arsene Wenger was the longest one. He left the club, so it's a new day in Arsenal. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that squad. I think it's going to be a rebuilding project. They should take their time to get the players that they want. And Manchester United, the world-famous Manchester United, they got Jose Mourinho. I don't know about that guy. I think he's done at Man U. I think he's a great coach, but the problem is that he wears out his welcome. I think if for American equivalent as a coach, I would have to say like Jim Harbaugh, the college football coach of the Michigan Wolverines, where he has success very early, but because of his personality, it just grinds and wears you out. So the people around them, ownership, management, they just get sick of him. And they're like, all right, we just got to get rid of this person. The hell of a winner. We got to get rid of this person. That's just Jose Mourinho. He's a very eccentric type of manager. And Manchester United, they got some good players and some world beaters on there, but I don't know if they really do anything this year. So my top 4 picks is Manchester City, Liverpool, in second. Chelsea will be in third. Spurs will be in fourth. With Arsenal and Manchester United looking in. It's going to be an interesting season. We'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, thank you guys. This has been another episode of Just My Take. I know there's kind of a long layoff between this episode and the last episode. I think I'm going to try to do my episodes for the end of the week. So start expecting them like either Thursday or Friday, either Thursday morning or Friday morning. Try to do it towards the end of the week, trying to preview the weekend with the upcoming sports leagues and all that stuff. I think I'm going to try to do that instead. Also, guys and girls, let me know if I should continue to do YouTube videos. I know I had one episode of Boogie Cousins going to the Warriors. I kind of stopped with the YouTube videos. If you guys think I should continue to do YouTube videos, or maybe certain topics, just do YouTube videos on that. Give me your feedback on that, and I'll continue to like the page on the Instagram, on Twitter. I have the Just My Take podcast. Continue to like that, and the DefPC Instagram page. This show is available on Apple iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, pretty much every podcasting platform at this point. Just keep sharing amongst your friends. Even if you listen to the show, have your friends play it, listen to it. Let's grow the show. Let's make it interactive. And I'm trying to get guests on soon, so just bear with me, be patient. But once again, I thank you for all the support and love that you guys have been giving me. And hey, let's look forward to next week. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the sports weekend. And remember, everyone, I know I covered a lot today. And there's a lot that I had to cover with the sports world. Just remember, whether you agree or disagree, it's just my take. Peace.